Greetings, Blaxploit network hackers or ethical defenders, whichever you prefer. Today we're suiting up for a network security mission in Packettracer, focusing on port security. Remember those rogue devices trying to crash your network party? Well, port security is your digital bouncer, wielding the power of the Cisco switch command line interface to keep unwanted connections at bay. In today's lab, we'll learn the art of port security configuration. We'll restrict access to specific ports, leverage the power of sticky MAC address, and even trigger some controlled switch security violations to see how it all works. So dust off your keyboard commands and get ready to secure your network like a pro. Also, if you'd like to follow along, just make sure you download the Packettracer file from the link in the description. Alright, let's lock down the port on our first switch. Switch 1. Imagine these ports as the entry points to our exclusive network party. We want to make sure only authorized devices can join the fun. Let's head over to interface configuration mode with enable conf-t. Interface range F01-3. This single command allows us to enter configuration mode for all three interfaces at once. Pretty neat, right? Hold on a sec, quick check. Before we jump into configuration, let's verify something important. Port security can only be enabled on access or trunk ports. To enable port security, we need to switch these interfaces to access mode. This is like flipping a switch on a light fixture. It changes how the port functions. Once you've entered the command, these interfaces will be ready for port security configuration. Let's move on. Alright, with the interfaces in access mode, let's secure them. The good news is, most Cisco switches already have the desired settings for violation mode shut down. Maximum addresses 1 and sticky learning disabled, so we won't need to change those. However, we do want to adjust the aging time to 1 hour. This is the time the switch remembers authorized devices before forgetting them and requiring re-authentication. Enter switch port security aging time of 60 minutes. And now, to activate port security, you can enter the command switch port security. Now, let's verify our configurations with command do show port security interface F01. Here we see the default settings of violation shutdown, maximum MAC addresses of 1, sticky learning is disabled, and the key configuration we made of aging time is set to 1 hour, presented as 60 minutes. Alright, let's switch gears and configure port security on switch 2. First, we'll need to enter privilege exec mode with enable and now conf-t to get into global configuration mode. And now to enter interface configuration mode for the desired port of switch 2, which is G01, we'll use the command interface G01. While it's not essential for this task, you can optionally verify the current administrative mode with the command show interface G01 switch port. And here we see the port security can't be enabled as administrative mode is dynamic auto. To emphasize why interface mode matters, let's try enabling port security on the port while it's still in dynamic auto mode. Enter the command switch port security. As expected, you receive an error message command rejected because Cisco switches typically require access or trunk mode for enabling port security. Now let's set the interface to access mode using the command switch port mode access. This prepares the port for port security configuration. With the interface in access mode, we're now ready to configure the desired port security settings on switch 2. Alright, let's customize switch 2's security. We'll configure switch 2 for a slightly different security approach compared to switch 1. Here's what we'll do. Set violation mode to restrict. Use the command switch port security violation restrict. This will restrict traffic on unauthorized connections instead of completely shutting down the port like on switch 1. Set maximum addresses to 4. Use the command switch port security max 4. This allows up to 4 authorized devices to connect to this port. Now let's enable sticky learning on this port. This means the switch will remember previously authorized devices even if they disconnect for a short period. Use the command switch port security MAC address sticky. Finally, to activate these settings, use the command switch port security. Let's double check our work and ensure everything is configured as planned. Use the command show port security interface G01. We see here that our violation mode is restrict as configured. Maximum addresses is for sticky learning has been enabled, and note our aging time is 0 minutes, which is the default. Security violation count shows none since we haven't triggered any violations yet. With these settings, switch 2 has a different security posture compared to switch 1. It allows for more flexibility with a higher maximum address limit and restricts unauthorized traffic instead of complete shutdown. Sticky learning adds an extra layer of convenience by remembering authorized devices. Let's put switch 2's security to the test. First off, we want to verify that switch 2 can learn the MAC addresses of authorized devices that connect to its port. Here's what we'll do. From PC 1, we'll ping the router's IP address of 10.0.0.254. This simulates an authorized device establishing a connection. We'll repeat the same for PC 2 and PC 3. Since the maximum address limit is set to 4 on switch 2, these 3 authorized connections should be allowed. Now let's switch back to switch 2 CLI and see what it has learned. Use the command show port security. Here we see 4 LAN MAC addresses corresponding to the connected PCs, and the 4th MAC address being that of switch 1, which has been sending CDP messages to switch 2. Next, let's explore how sticky learning might affect the MAC address table. Use the command show MAC address table. This command displays the complete MAC address table, which might include entries for all ports and devices the switch has ever encountered. As you can see, those learned MAC addresses are listed as static, even though they were dynamically learned. This is because of sticky learning. Sticky learning is a convenient feature that allows the switch to remember authorized devices and treat them like static entries, even after they disconnect for a brief period within the aging time window. This eliminates the need for re-authentication as long as these devices reconnect within that time frame. Switch 2's configuration demonstrates a security approach that balances flexibility and control. Alright, let's see how switch 2 reacts to an unauthorized device. We'll create a virtual device on switch 1 that attempts to connect to switch 2 without authorization. Here's what we'll do. We'll create a virtual interface on switch 1 with the use of commands interface VLAN1 IP address 10.0.0.9 255.255.255.0 no shutdown. This creates a virtual interface on VLAN 1 with an IP address of 10.0.0.9. However, this device won't have a legitimate MAC address assigned to it. Now, let's ping the router from switch 1. We'll use the command do ping 10.0.0.254. This simulates the unauthorized device attempting to communicate with the router. Now, let's switch back to switch 2 and see how it reacts to this unauthorized attempt. Use the command show port security. Here under security violation count, we see a value of 6, indicating 6 security violations, one of each ping attempt from the unauthorized device. Let's check again with a different command, show port security interface G01. This command can provide more details about the violation on the specific interface. Here we see the security violation count of 6 as well. However, we also have information about the rogue device as its MAC address is captured. By attempting to connect from an unauthorized device, we trigger the port security violation on switch 2. The violation count confirms this unauthorized activity depending on the violation mode. Restrict In this case, switch 2 might restrict traffic from this unauthorized device while allowing communication from authorized devices. Let's see how switch 1 reacts to a device with a spoofed MAC address. To do this, we'll modify the MAC address of PC3 to impersonate an unauthorized device and attempt to connect to switch 1. Here's what we'll do. Change PC3's MAC address by heading over to PC3's configuration settings, enter in FOST Ethernet 0 and change the last number from 3 to B. Now we'll attempt to ping from PC3 with the potentially spoofed MAC address to the router's IP address 10.0.0.254. Now let's switch back to switch 1 and see how it reacted to this attempt. You might immediately see a syslog message indicating that interface F03 connected to PC3 has changed state to administratively down. This is a potential sign of a security violation. Let's check our violation count with command do show port security. Here we see a security violation count of 1, indicating a security violation on a specific interface. Now finally, let's use the command do show port security interface F03. This command provides details about the violation on F03. Here we see security violation count of 1 as well, and information about the detected rogue MAC address, the spoofed MAC address used by PC3. By attempting to connect with a potentially spoofed MAC address, we triggered the port security violation on switch 1. The syslog message and violation count confirm this unauthorized activity. Switch 1 might have shut down the port F03 as a security measure. And that's it for port security. Port security is a valuable tool for restricting unauthorized access to switch ports. By configuring violation mode, maximum addresses, sticky learning, and aging time, you can tailor the security posture to your specific needs. Port security can detect and respond to unauthorized attempts, including those using spoofed MAC addresses. Remember, port security is just one piece of the security puzzle. Consider implementing additional security measures like VLANs, access control lists, and strong passwords to further protect your network. Thanks for watching, and remember this also. If you want to stay secure online, protect your own devices. If you want to create a safe online community, work together. Alright now, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell like it's a rogue device trying to sneak onto your network.